Hi everyone, I'm Summer Dash. Thank you for joining us for this June episode of Energycast. Let's get started with some Energy Bites.
Their friends, their family, and their important people in getting the work done in Oak Ridge.
And they all showed up for him. Friends, family, and co-workers of Steve McCracken gather on a private road beneath the sun and eyeing the hills. We'll show you what's so special about this bridge and the man whose name is on it. Demo day is here, Building 9213 is going down, and this is just the beginning. It takes a lot to get to demo day. We're going to let you know what used to happen inside that building when it was active, plus we've got more footage of the teardown.
They used to call the shift superintendent the man. So, when I came in, I can only imagine what they called me, but...
We're introducing you to Bonnie Shoemaker, who is reflecting on her career in Oak Ridge. She may be retired, but she is still involved. People like her, well, they don't just call it a day, and we are better for that. We'll show you what she's doing now and how you may be able to help out too. We start off with a story so many of you told us you couldn't wait to see. That says a lot about the subject of it. Steve McCracken, he has worked in environmental management for more than 4 decades. Though his accomplishments are impressive, it's his reputation as a straight shooter, fun, and encouraging that seems to have made the greatest impact. Now, he is being honored in a big, big way. Hefty, strong, weighty equipment passes over this bridge. Get materials from point A to B. That's the goal. And in that approaching van is a powerhouse leader.
He led, he rarely followed.
Who made it all possible.
We called him McCracken. He had a one name. A lot of people say Steve McCracken, but he was McCracken.
Oak Ridge is known for big machinery. But the man operating this piece is known for his big sense of humor.
Is the chair up as high as it'll go? No. Well, put it on up there. I'll be taller than Pam.
Despite his small stature, for instance, he once dressed up as Santa at a company Christmas party and made his very tall coworker the elf.
This thing is great at a bar where they have those high tables.
Dare we say he has no shortage of jokes? Still, on a momentous occasion such as this, we had to ask a serious question. What goes into building this kind of legacy?
Oh, good grief. I couldn't answer that.
Though at first it may seem like a non-answer, it perhaps says it all.
You can't compliment Steve without him turning it around. He just has this amazing humility.
It wasn't just me that got us where we are, it was we that did it.
Even at an event meant for him.
Thank you.
Leave it to McCracken to celebrate everyone else.
I just like getting together like this. There's so many of these folks that I don't get to see as much as I like to.
Throughout his career, he has managed major decontamination and demolition missions.
But my career, by very, very good fortune, involved following Steve's career around. So the legacy he's left is spread across Eastern North America.
Success isn't built overnight, and neither is this level of love, respect, or admiration.
Like this project, Steve doesn't seek the spotlight, but he's always steady and reliable getting things done.
The Hall Road Bridge was built out of necessity when McCracken was trying to figure out how to safely move 100,000 truckloads of material from one end of Oak Ridge to the other.
Everybody jumped in on this when we got it talked through and built it, and it did the job. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is.
He's seeing his concept completed for the first time.
I've heard it said that you were the perfect person to lead environmental cleanup in Oak Ridge during the years that you did.
Which is why this bridge now holds his name.
Gerald, I know you had a lot to do with this, and I appreciate that.
When faced with that fork in the road, he didn't just take the one less traveled. He chose the one that didn't exist.
I have to admit, I've got a habit of building haul roads or underpasses wherever I go.
And when life's inevitable bumps in the road came for McCracken.
Sad.
They came in the form of an ALS diagnosis.
It's really personal for everybody that knows him because such a picture of life.
A cruel, progressive, and at this time, incurable bump in his road.
He handled it pretty much, or handles it pretty much the way he handles everything. Okay, this is where we're at. This is what we're going to deal with. Let's use the best science and engineering and attitude we can to work through this.
It's not just the chair. Support for this man is all around.
We tried in all of our own ways in our relationships with Steve, to say, hey, we got this. But there was no one more confident in what was going on than him.
It seems a legacy is built on moments, decisions, and relationships. McCracken's now stands 25 feet tall.
I thought that's pretty cool.
But height never mattered anyway.
A very big thing for cleanup in Oak Ridge, but a very small piece of Steve's accomplishments.
No, you just can't measure impact like this.
His accomplishments at this work site and any work site he touched are dwarfed by what he's given to everybody that worked with him.
That's the thing about a legacy. It may be built over a lifetime, but it's kept on in people.
Together we made a really super team everywhere we go.
And like the possibilities he created, there's never really an end. That bridge was not the only honor for McCracken recently. He was also presented with the Muddy Boot Award earlier this year. It's given by the East Tennessee Economic Council to someone who has made a tremendous contribution to our community. That is Building 9213. It is slowly being torn down right now. It was built in 1949 at the Y-12 National Security Complex to conduct experiments with uranium for nuclear reactor designs. Known as the Old Criticality Experiment Lab, it was home to more than 9,700 experiments between 1950 and 1961. Later, it was used to support the Oak Ridge National Lab High Flux Isotope Reactor Program. The 24,000 square foot building has been closed since 1992. Now, getting a building to the point of demolition is a tedious and often lengthy process. This is just the beginning. We're going to have even more demo footage for you as it progresses. We have a project update years in the making to share with you. A step forward in the EMDF project. In May, DOE hosted a meeting and offered a month-long public comment period. The public had a chance to learn more and give feedback at this meeting. That input helps DOE as it works to finalize plans for the proposed facility. The Environmental Management Disposal Facility, or EMDF, may sound familiar to you. DOE started talking about this in 2015. It's a landfill and would create more space for waste. The environmental management team needs it to continue cleanup at the Y-12 National Security Complex and Oak Ridge National Lab. Let's go ahead and take you through how we got here. Federal officials began talking to the community about this need 7 years ago. The public got an in-depth look at the project in 2018. That's the year EM released its proposed plan for EMDF. Among other things, they shared where it would be constructed and what types of waste would or would not be allowed. EM then offered a 120-day comment period. During that span, EM hosted several information sessions and a public meeting to walk people through the plan. In turn, community members could give input back to EM. Fast forward to 2021, DOE sends its first draft of the Record of Decision, or ROD, to the state of Tennessee and Environmental Protection Agency. Now, this document held more details about the project. It also included all those comments DOE had gotten and answered from the public. With consensus reached on several key topics, EM launched another round of outreach recently in May to educate and hear back from the community. That outreach included publishing new informational materials, offering an additional 30-day public comment period, and hosting another public meeting. Now let's take a look at this map. I'm going to show you exactly where EMDF will be located. You've got the Hall Road right here. Bear Creek is running parallel just below it. EMDF is here circled in blue. So how does the new disposal facility work? What does it look like? And most importantly, is it safe? For that, let's send things over to Regulatory Affairs Specialist Roger Petrie.
The purpose of this is to build an on-site disposal facility for low-level radioactive waste. It is very low-level waste that can almost go into a regular sanitary landfill. What it allows us to do is to dispose of a large volume of almost not contaminated waste on site, and allows us then to use our funding to accelerate our program and send the majority of the highly radioactive waste off-site to sites out in western United States.
Now, the public comment period did just end on June 7th. These are really important to the process. Public input is a protected and required part of any project like this.
It gives them an opportunity to question the validity of the remedy.
That public comment period isn't the only way the community can give feedback on a project like this. The plans were also presented to the Oak Ridge Site-Specific Advisory Board. That group is made up of community volunteers. The goal is to offer unbiased input on DOE projects. These are members of our community, and some have a science background, some don't. The group met virtually to hear about the EMDF project. Here's a portion of that presentation. Members were able to ask questions and offer opinions. Here's just a snippet of one discussion had when a board member asked a question about groundwater safety and EMDF.
The groundwater study was proposed, the groundwater demonstration was proposed by DOE. So if Dennis can address this one, I would appreciate it.
We came up with the idea, DOE proposed it, and we agreed that we could move forward using a groundwater field demonstration.
Your input is so important to DOE. Coming up a little later in this newscast, you're going to meet one of the ORSSAB members. She is quite the character, let me tell you, and is so passionate about making a difference through her work. We're also going to show you how you can apply for a position on the board. Like I said, no science background required. That's coming up in just a few minutes on Energycast. Some business buzz to share with you. There is a new area leader in town. Elizabeth Harm is the executive director for Energy, Technology, and Environmental Business Association, or ATIBA. She comes to Oak Ridge from DOE's Savannah River site in South Carolina. Though she was born and raised in our neighboring state, she says she is thrilled to be here and for the opportunity to lead this organization.
You know, we host events across the country to try to bring people together with networking opportunities, and so that they can hear and learn about all the great things happening and business opportunities for their company.
ATIBA is a nonprofit headquartered in Oak Ridge, by the way, formed more than 30 years ago. It represents nearly 200 companies providing services to government and commercial clients all across the country. If you're interested in joining, or if you'd like some more information, go ahead and contact Harm by the email or number listed on your screen right now. We will have more about Harm's move to Tennessee on our social media accounts. Make sure to follow us there for exclusive content and look for this Energy Extra. We have an update for you on a new contract awarded. United Cleanup Oak Ridge, or UCOR, is in charge of major environmental cleanup efforts on the Department of Energy's Oak Ridge Reservation for the next decade. Transition to the new contract officially began on May 23rd. You are watching Oak Ridge Office of Environmental Management Acting Manager Laura Wilkerson and UCOR President and CEO Ken Reuter sign a partnering agreement for the two organizations. Now, this is the second consecutive contract awarded to the company. UCOR has been the lead contractor for the Department of Energy in this area since 2011.
It just feels so natural to be out here amongst all this great work that thousands of people did in the best interest of, eliminating environmental liability.
During that first 10-year contract, workers demolished hundreds of buildings, drastically changing the local landscape. Their work also marked the first ever removal of an enrichment complex in the world.
People that retire say they get bored. I never get bored.
People like Bonnie Shoemaker keep making a difference long after they have officially left the workforce. Between her 170-year-old house, big garden, and donkeys, she is certainly occupied. It's her work on the Site-Specific Advisory Board, though, that is keeping her involved in the future of Oak Ridge. We're going to show you a career that spanned decades and introduce you to the woman who made so much happen here. Plus, electric vehicles are all the rage these days, but have you ever thought about what makes them go? We're catching up with the Secretary of Energy after her travels. She's going to explain the guts of the batteries and how they impact a community making them. Find out what the people have to say about it, all when we come back. Taking a look at what's happening across the complex, we are checking in with Secretary Jennifer Granholm. She's got an update for us on structuring the power grid, how to keep things operating during and after natural disasters. She's asking for your input on this, by the way. Plus, she's talking electric vehicles, reactors, and clean energy.
Hi, everybody. Ready to hear what we've been up to lately? We are making major investments to strengthen and modernize America's power grid, and we're asking for the public's input on how to structure what is an approximately $2.3 billion program, and that is going to help shore up the grid against wildfires and extreme weather and other natural disasters that are exacerbated by the climate crisis. And then, the bipartisan infrastructure law invests more than $3 billion to make batteries and components for electric vehicles right here in America, and to find new ways to recycle them and bolster our domestic supply chain, and of course create more good-paying jobs. I went to Detroit to announce that historic funding opportunity, and then followed up with the launch of our $45 million EVs for All, Electric Vehicles for All program, which is going to support domestic development of affordable and efficient and resilient batteries. And speaking of batteries, the guts of these batteries are going to come from critical minerals and raw materials like lithium. So I traveled to California to visit geothermal and lithium sites at the Salton Sea in Southern California. And I met with local community members and leaders, and I heard firsthand the needs and concerns of frontline communities who want to be our partners in this transition to clean energy. And on the topic of geothermal, we put out a call for insight from stakeholders and industry about how we can make the most of $84 million in funding from that bipartisan infrastructure law for advanced geothermal systems. And that is going to help us harness the clean and renewable power beneath our feet. And it's going to move us closer to our goal to deploying more than 60 gigawatts of geothermal electricity generating capacity by 2050. And that's enough reliable power for 129 million American homes and businesses. And then we're working to maintain America's existing clean energy infrastructure. We recently released guidance for states on how to apply for the bipartisan infrastructure law's $6 billion in civil nuclear credits. And that is going to help keep the nation's nuclear reactors, which is right now our largest source of clean energy. It's going to help keep them powered up and running strong. And I'm not done yet. DOE has also started the process to successfully implement the infrastructure law's rebate program. So we opened public comments to help draft the plan to release $20 million of rebates for electric system upgrades for utilities and reduce energy costs for commercial building operators. So visit us at energy.gov/BIL to keep tabs on how we're powering up America.
We're digging into a 490-page document about the country's environmental management budget. Last month, we gave you a quick look at EM's overall budget request for 2023. That total came in at $7.6 billion. EM has since released a document that shares much more detail, broken down to the site level. Let's go ahead and walk you through that now. The graphic on your screen shows the proposed funding levels for EM's cleanup sites all across the country. The Hanford site in Washington State tops the list with a roughly $2.5 billion request. That is followed by the Savannah River site in South Carolina at $1.7 billion. Oak Ridge comes in third on the list with $612 million. Hundreds of millions are also being requested to support important cleanup efforts at major sites in California, Idaho, Kentucky, Ohio, New Mexico, New York, Nevada, and Utah. Now let's take a closer look at Oak Ridge's numbers. Looking at the totals, Oak Ridge got nearly $630 million this year. The 2023 request comes in at $612 million. That total would fund projects dealing with high-risk buildings at Y12 and ORNL, downblending the inventory of uranium-233, soil remediation at ETTP, and advancements in technology development for future mercury cleanup. The figures we just shared are part of the President's request to Congress. Those numbers give members of Congress a starting point to begin debating and deciding what the final budget totals should be for the upcoming year. Congress is scheduled to release its final budget in the fall. We will, of course, bring you an update right here when we get those final numbers. Now, for the full report, head over to energy.gov/EM. You can read more details right there.
I love STEM night.
Same, my friend. What's not to love? Robots throwing dodgeballs, Tyvek suits to try on, and scanning for radioactivity. Our employees and contractors were at it again, making sure even the youngest members of our community get involved in the field. Next, we are taking you to Robertsville Middle School, where we found a very passionate little one declaring his love for STEM night.
Come on, I got it this time.
Donkeys for neighbors. This is retirement for Bonnie Shoemaker. She is a beloved member of the Oak Ridge community and a respected former co-worker. Her love for the outdoors goes beyond gardening and tending to animals. She is impacting environmental management even in retirement. We're going to show you how she stays involved and how you can too, even if you have no science background. Stay with us. Energycast will be back in 30 seconds. Our team is plugged into the community, tools that go buzz, Tyvek suits to try on, and a bowl full of candy. You might think it's the candy that's the biggest draw, but we like to think it's us and our work. Whatever it takes to get them interested, right? Let's head over to Monica Johnson. Monica is interning in UCOR's communications department. And Monica, you're very familiar with this school, but STEAM Night, on the other hand, not so much.
STEAM Night didn't exist when I went here. I knew I've always wanted to go the communications route, but had I been exposed to what these kids are, I would have gone the science communication route much sooner.
What we do is we measure it with this device.
In our line of work, we know it's not always about what you can see.
Because you can't just see it, like you can't see the radiation.
So it's quite a gift to be able to look around at all of this.
This comes out of the ground this way.
Learning plays out across the Robertsville Middle School auditorium.
This one's really picking up strong.
Your test weight's supposed to be 1,000 grams, exactly, and it's right on.
Proof of the impact in their eyes.
Can't see.
If they can see out the suits, that is.
Is that better?
Yes. Where's the big boy?
For Isotech employees like Josh Hensley, STEAM Night is a chance to find passion and share it too.
It's just so much fun working with the kids. They get so excited about all the different parts of our just regular everyday jobs.
From robots to glove boxes to our camera gear.
No, you say something. Tell them what your name is.
My name is Jacob. My brother's name is Quentin. And my sister's name is Andrea. She's in this school.
You can watch for the moment a little kid just gets it.
Scanning the sources.
And Jacob Lesh will be the first to tell you that he's got a knack for this stuff.
I go to kindergarten and I'm very smart.
Even though his dad knows around here science rules.
A lot of different things here for as far as history, with careers and stuff like that, so it's pretty neat.
it appears Jacob also has a knack for being on camera.
What Oak Ridge has for history, it's a little bit different, a little bit tailored for what's happened here.
I've been in school a lot of days.
Yeah.
And we welcome him to do any of our jobs when he grows up, science or not.
I really like getting out and talking to the next generation.
Science is all about discoveries and making sense of the unknown. But here, one thing is clear.
So that's like our job. We go find it and we clean it up.
Our community's kids have a very bright future.
Nice, good job.
And we love to see that. It is so cool to see the kids getting involved in this. And you might also notice that we're calling it STEAM Night. Schools are now including the arts in the acronym. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Summer?
Oh, Monica, thank you so much. So cool that you got to head back to your old school. You're such a mentor and example to them. I know they appreciate that. She is a woman in STEM whose love for the outdoors motivates her to make sure they're protected. It is our honor to introduce you to Bonnie Shoemaker. We are spotlighting her career and continued contributions to the work in Oak Ridge. She's a UT grad who spent 34 years building a career here. Though she is technically retired now, she is still making an impact as a member of the Oak Ridge Site-Specific Advisory Board.
Where I bring all my plants in from outside.
If you believe in that saying,
It's one of my favorites back here is the foxtail fern.
choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life,
Yeah.
then Bonnie Shoemaker never worked.
They always all do much better when they get outside.
So does Bonnie. Plants, flowers, and water are her passion, and Oak Ridge is her paradise.
I grew up on the lake and played in the woods all the time.
That's why her career with the Department of Energy was as perfect as that foxtail fern.
I went to environmental management, and that was my dream job. Clean Water Act compliance.
When something wasn't quite right, it was her job to find out what caused it and how to fix it.
I felt like I was doing a good thing because environmental was fairly new.
In 1993, she was promoted.
They used to call the shift superintendent the man. So, when I came in, I can only imagine what they called me, but...
She was the first woman to work in the shift superintendent's office at K-25.
I was kind of proud of that.
On the days the work felt like work.
And sometimes I'd say, I need to go out and check on my monitoring station. I'd go out there and just...
She'd find her way to a project outdoors.
My secretary used to say, when I'd get a call, she'd say, she's outstanding in her field.
Bonnie has retired from that job that wasn't work, but a woman like this doesn't just stop doing what she loves.
I've had people that retire say they get bored. I never get bored.
When she isn't tending to her garden beside her 170-year-old house.
Well, my degree was in biology, so...
She's working with the Oak Ridge Site-Specific Advisory Board.
It's good because I care, because I know, I have some knowledge of what we're up against.
The board is made up of community members with or without experience in environmental management to help guide cleanup efforts. These members serve the people of East Tennessee.
We're going to bat for them. We're making sure that things are done properly because, I love Oak Ridge just like all of them do.
With her experience through decades of changes and her passion for all things living.
I love this. Donkey treats.
Her input is invaluable. And just like all those years ago, when things get tough, you'll find her in a field. Only this time, it's right across the street.
Come on, I got it up this time.
Donkeys for neighbors, a house full of history, and gardens galore.
There's one for you.
For a woman who never worked, she sure is busy.
Maybe I did some good. Maybe I made a difference. And I enjoyed being part of it.
And she's not done yet.
Hope not.
If you'd like more information on the Oak Ridge Site-Specific Advisory Board or to apply for membership, scan this QR code on your screen. Just aim your phone camera toward it and tap the link. It'll take you to the website. We have We've got so many wonderful stories to share with you, but you're going to have to wait until our July episode. So sorry. Several new businesses are moving to town. We're going to show you how they're working together to plan for the future. Demolition is moving forward on the Criticality Experiment Lab at Y12. We're going to give you a closer look at that project, and you'll hear from the people leading that teardown. Finally, we are digging around at ETTP. We have an update on a big soil project happening there. Thank you for joining us for Energycast. New episodes come out on the third Sunday of the month. We post Energycast episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages the day after they air. Head over to follow us on our social media accounts. We are always happy to answer questions and share information with you there as well. See you next time.